Hello listeners. Welcome back to Storytime FM. Today we are looking through r/AskReddit. What you have no sympathy for. Let's jump right in. People who provoke animals and then get killed or maimed when the animal lashes out. You're a piece of shit if you think it's okay to wind up or frighten an animal to the point that it attacks you, and you deserve what's coming to you. Let's see what other comments there are. People who piss all over public toilets. People who have kids to fix their problems and then project those problems onto said kids. Kids aren't band-aids, they're humans. People who yell or snap at bartenders and then have to wait longer to get their drink. People who abuse their children. Any child, any defenseless person, anyone down on their luck or less fortunate. Here are some more comments I found. People who prey on elderly people, whether it is through scams, theft, violence, or whatever. I do not have any sort of sympathy for people that commit animal cruelty. Those are serial killers in the making, and that behavior needs to be corrected ASAP. It's sickeningly opportunistic. People who throw tantrums and yell at minimum wage workers. Skipping words in the middle of an AskReddit question. Let's take a look at some other comments. People who say come in on a knock-knock joke. Intentional ignorance. People who hurt children, animals and the elderly. They have no way to defend themselves. Scammers. Let's look at some more comments. People that blow their own lives up. Then sit and cry in the ashes and wail, "Why did this happen?" Partners in school who are lazy fucks and don't do any work. Burglars who end up getting injured or attacked while inside someone else's house. Literally would not have happened if you hadn't been breaking into someone's house. Holocaust deniers. Let's see what some other people wrote. People making fun of new people at the gym or overweight people working out. They're putting in an effort that is clearly uncomfortable for them. Takes a lot of courage to step outside your comfort zone. People who film themselves giving money, food to homeless people on purpose. People who abuse their family and their enablers. Excuses. If family is everything, then maybe they should treat them better. People who drink and drive and either die or get arrested. When I was 10 or so I saw a really bad car accident. Drunk driver crossed median on highway and hit a minivan head-on. The minivan had 5 people in it. One person was alive when I got out of my dad's truck. He was trying to help people, and walked over to the van. The driver was alive but pinned and screaming. The other 4 were very dead. The drunk driver was trying to run away and fight people who were trying to stop him. He wasn't hurt at all. I have zero tolerance for friends that do it too. One of my best friends in high school mentioned in passing that he had driven home drunk once. Haven't talked to him since. Here are some more comments I found. When I hear about a pedophile or zoophile getting beat to death or whatever, honestly the sick satisfaction I get from hearing about that disgusts me. Convicted pedophiles. People who do act like douchebags and then complain about how hard their lives are. Nazis. Let's see what some other people wrote. Individuals who get themselves in situations that could have otherwise been totally averted or don't respect themselves enough to try and solve their own problems. People who hate others for trying to feel comfortable in their own bodies. Cheaters. I despise them. Asshats that don't stop for school buses. Let's see what other comments there are. Fakers for attention. I just cannot deal with them anymore. Child molesters. Absolutely no sympathy. Death. Abusive parents who say they're just doing what's best for us. People who provoke animals on purpose and then get attacked by said animals. Let's see what other comments there are. It's difficult for me to have sympathy for anti-vaxxers who unfortunately die of COVID. Racists and just people who look down on others in general. People who think they are better than others. People who refuse to try and blame everyone else for their situation, when there are literally dozens of options. And people who refuse to use logic in debates. People that hurts animals, especially birds. Here are some more comments I found. R. Kelly. People who believe everything they hear on the internet. Also, the people spreading misinformation and refusing to research said topics. Billionaires who complain when their stocks take a hit. Toxic family who try to say you should accept it because they are family. Like nope, bi toxic is toxic and I don't tolerate that in my life, which is why I'm moving out in 4 months because of my grandma and the fact I don't agree with the way my mom's side treat kids. They put off a ton of responsibility onto the kids because they are lazy. That's how they were raised, so it's okay. Let's take a look at some other comments. Lying about being raped for attention, to ruin the accused person's reputation. It takes away credibility from actual victims of sexual assault, and it can irreparably damage someone's life. And the worst part, is most people who lie about it don't even get in trouble. In a similar vein, people lying about having mental health problems or health issues because they think it's quirky. And fuck anybody who knowingly has COVID, but lies just so they can throw a party and be the center of attention. My boyfriend's aunt lied about testing negative before her engagement party and got everyone who attended infected with COVID, including my boyfriend who is immunocompromised. I was invited to the party but couldn't go due to family reasons, but I definitely would have gotten sick if I went. Lost all respect for BF's aunt after that one. TLDR. Assholes who lie for attention. People who choose to stay in an active wildfire zone. If CAL FIRE comes to your house and asks you to vacate, fucking leave. Don't put EMS and fire at risk just because you didn't want to leave. People who judge and hate others for their race, sex, disability, etc. because they were brought up that way, or they had a bad experience with some people from said group. IDC. Something in you should say, hey, I'm going out of my way to be hateful towards a random-ass stranger just because of something they have no control over. I'd hate it if I were treated like this for the same reason, so why am I doing this? No one is born with these prejudices, they're learned, meaning that they should and can be unlearned. Unfortunately, I have sympathy for pretty much anyone if I overthink it. I mean, people who do evil things are just various levels of mentally ill, right? Someone please convince me I'm wrong, it's exhausting being this way. Let's see what other comments there are. People who like to feel better about themselves by abusing or humiliating a fellow human being or an animal. Young adults that were 100% irresponsible, had a child, and now do nothing but complain about it or try to pawn their kid off so they can go party and repeat the mistake. Child rapists who go to prison only to get raped themselves or worse. Parents of kids who committed suicide who knew their kids struggled mentally and didn't help. Let's take a look at some other comments. People with a false sense of entitlement. Showing up late. I'm a very punctual person, and always find a way to be there on time. Religious people who force people to their religion. Anti-vaxxers. Let's look at some more comments. Anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers who get COVID. People who use their mental illness as an excuse to purposely treat others horribly. You can be depressed without treating others like they don't exist, are invisible, you know. I have depression myself but I don't treat others horribly. Stupid drivers. Trophy hunters who get mauled to death by an animal. Let's see what some other people wrote. Anti-vax folks who die of COVID. Enablers who then whine about the people they are doing everything for taking advantage of them, not abusive situations. Just stop bailing them out every time they have an emergency and the problem mostly fixes itself. It's way better to have someone mad at you for not bending over backward to help them with something they should have done themselves than to be resentful of them because you've saved them from their own incompetence for the 1000th time. Celebrities, they can pay me if they want my sympathy. Cheaters. Let's take a look at some other comments. Dudes crying about child support and they never there for their kid. You guys that are there I understand. Redditors who post blatant advertisements in their posts. Nikocado avocado. People that complain but take no action to make changes. You are unhappy enough to run your mouth but too lazy to actually do anything for yourself. Just do everyone a favor and shut up, we don't care. Here are some more comments I found. Rapists or anyone who abuses a woman or child. Humans. I think it's about time we seriously realize the internet's dream and let cats or dogs rule in government. Rich elitist overpaid privileged celebrity people who whine about everything. Unvaccinated people who get COVID, and then inevitably end up in the hospital, at which point they start begging for a vaccine. Sorry, it's too late at this point, you should have just taken it sooner. It's really not that hard to take a vaccine, people. People who do intentional things that they know is wrong and then suffer some kind of consequences. An example of this is someone who, say, breaks a clearly marked barrier at Disney to go retrieve a phone or some other thing and then suffers injuries. Sorry, no sympathy. Here are some more comments I found. Anti-vaxxers. People who mock those with autism and make so-called autistic jokes. I hope they get decked in the fucking mouth if they make a joke like that. Child abusers. All forms of abuse. There's no excuse for treating a baby, toddler, or child that way. January 6 insurrectionists now begging for clemency. Let's look at some more comments. Racists who get caught out. shamed and then weep for the camera. We're out of comments for today. Come back tomorrow for some more comments. In the meantime, leave a comment with your stories and thoughts below. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed and want to see more. Until next time, listeners.